Welcome to the Elevated Trader Podcast. I am Dr. Kristin Kidgel.
And I am Tracy Ball. Join us every week as we journey into becoming better traders.
We believe becoming better traders involves elevating our skill, mindset, and our health. In each episode, we will discuss the current book we are exploring, and we invite you to join us on this journey.
Are you ready to elevate your trading, mindset, and health to the next level? Let's do this. Welcome back to part 3 of Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod.
Oh, yeah.
Why did you wake up this morning? That's what we're talking about.
That is what we're talking about. So many reasons why I woke up this morning. And I'm not going to say it was easy.
No?
Nope.
Well, you've got to get up every morning with determination if you're going to go to bed with satisfaction.
I like this one. Your first ritual that you do during the day is the highest leveraged ritual by far, because it has the effect of setting your mind and setting the context for the rest of your day.
I agree.
I can see that. that.
So question for you. Have you been the person that works out in the morning all the time?
Not all the time, but in the last few years.
Yeah. Did you? So prior to the last few years, when did you work out?
I think I attempted it or just didn't even do it. It was very hit and miss. I think over time, especially in the last decade, it became more important. And then the last 5 years, it was just, okay, what mornings can I do it that are the easiest? And then in the last, year or so, it's becoming more and more important. But I have to also make sure that people understand that, like, exercising to me is also a form of stretching, which is a light form of yoga. And if you've never been able to touch your toes your whole life, then you can relate to me, because the concept of not being flexible, if you look that up, inflexible, unflexible, in the dictionary, there's probably a picture of me. So I have to really work on that. I really have to work on that. So anyways, that's been cool. I'm going to talk about that because that's something that has been shaped better because of this book.
Okay. Well, the question, the reason I'm even asking you the question is, I've worked out mostly in the morning. It's my preferred time. I have tried to work out later in the afternoon or in the evening at times to fit my schedule, whatever that might be at the time. My experience has been 100% that getting that exercise done in the morning, I feel more energized throughout the day. I am one of the people on the planet that does not drink anything other than water. I don't consume caffeine in any way, shape, or form. So I have no artificial stimulant that increases my energy level. It is strictly based on my own body's ability to generate energy.
Impressive.
And I have found...
so we're opposites in that too. I mean, you and I are opposites in a lot of things.
Absolutely. But I have found 100% that when I work out consistently in the morning, my energy, I'm able to carry my day through and be so much more productive through that. So this goes back to what you were just saying about starting out the day. And that has been probably my biggest notice. I notice it very much so, among a bunch of other things. But the physical activity is probably the one that I can hang on the best or the most. I've tried to do the way other people do. And number one, I can't stick to it because I don't have the energy to start it later on in the day. That's another issue, but I've noticed a huge difference. So I wanted to know if you did too.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really hoping that adding the stretching is going to make a big difference because, just running and just sprinting and just lifting weights definitely needs to come with some stretching. I mean, not just stretching that day, but stretching in between, which would be stretching more on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
But the energy level and all of that, I can totally agree with. So sometimes what I like to do in the middle of the summer and on the west coast of Central Florida, when we're having like 100-degree days, I will literally go run for like 15, 20 minutes just to see if I can still take the heat.
Nice. And can you?
Of course. Of course. I do. It's a little weird internal challenge. I think, honestly, getting up earlier and then getting dressed and then doing this and doing that. The challenge is kind of a stress relief in a weird way. And it's all retrospect.
Yeah.
Because I don't like running, but I do like how I feel when I'm done with it. And I'm talking, I don't run for very long, you guys. Like if I get a mile and a half, like today, I think I did just under 2 miles. Slowly. But I'm happy when it's done.
Nice. That's awesome.
Okay. But I'm happy to switch it up for like some sort of hit, but I got to be outside. That's another thing. It's already cold where you are right now. And it's not cold here at all. I mean, we're going to hover 80 all day all day, all week. And I can't stand being inside. So that's my other part of getting outside to exercise,
Yeah, totally. I completely get it. Yeah. So that quote again, do you want to reread it? The one you
Yours
just
or
read.
mine?
The one you just read.
Okay. So the quote was Eben Pagan, by the way. Your first ritual that you do during the day is the highest leverage ritual by far because it has the effect of setting your mind and setting the context for the rest of your day.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So, but why did you wake up this morning? Chapter 4. Okay. Well, let's first off, he jumps into, I like where he says that you snooze, you lose. Pretty much, if you've been alive, you've heard that, at least in America.
It is. Now, I was actually having a conversation yesterday or a couple of days ago with my husband, and he said that the snooze button was probably the worst invention on the planet. And I agree with him 100%. We were talking about it because our son slept in twice in a row, hitting that snooze button. And it's just what you do, right? That is a ritual, one of the rituals that if you currently do, you need to learn how to stop.
Mm-hmm. Medical director of the Sleep Disorder Centers of Prescott Valley in Flagstaff, Arizona. Quote, when you hit the snooze button repeatedly, you're doing two negative things to yourself. First, you're fragmenting that little extra sleep you're getting, so it's poor quality. Second, you're starting to put yourself through a new sleep cycle. You aren't giving yourself enough time to finish. This can result in persistent grogginess throughout the day. I have to tell you, I am going to throw myself under the bus here. Just a couple of years ago, I absolutely would hit the snooze. At least once. But I haven't in a while. At least a year and a half. So somehow I broke that cycle. But what I did switch to, which I find interesting, which made this book a little bit easier to implement, is I would not hit the snooze. I would start a meditation. And I wouldn't sit up all the way. I would sit up halfway, which is not where I am now. So for those of you that are really trying to incorporate some things, incorporate it like me in baby steps, small bite size. Okay, I'm not going to hit the snooze. I'm going to put on a meditation video. And I'm not going to try to meditate because I've never taken any courses on how to meditate. By the way, I think meditation is something that is a learned behavior. It is like everything else. You just don't go and run 10 miles, right? You train it. So to me, to be a very good person, a meditator, you have to train yourself to be a better meditator. So I have always done guided. Now, granted, because of this book, I have switched to not guided. So this book is literally upping my game. But then I would get up after the meditation, and then I would start getting ready for work or something like that. And then I would, in my head, in my ears, every morning, I was playing mindset videos. And that really shaped me. So do I still do that? Yeah, I do it when I'm running. I do it when I'm cooking. I do more of it in the morning, and I try to have more fun with what's in my ears, in the evenings or something like that, with like maybe a book that has nothing to do with mindset. I'm really trying to not get burned out, so to speak.
So you were a snoozer, were you?
And then I also, before this book, was like, I'm not really a morning person. I'm a night owl. Well, you know what? Now I realize I can be both, because we'll get into why a little bit further.
See, I have always loved my mornings.
You figured it out early.
There's a couple of things number one, I used to work shift work. And when we were on nights there, you start to get really lethargic. You start to get very tired. And the guys that I used to work with, they'd turn the lights down, and when you start to work in that type of an environment, it's like your eyelids are getting heavy. You're starting to fall asleep. So you're not getting a good quality sleep. That's for sure. I mean, if you do fall asleep, you're not getting a good quality sleep at all, because you're attuned to what's going on. You need to pay very close attention. But the job that I did required a reaction to alarms. So you have to be paying attention to alarms and then react and do your job. The morning was easy for me, but I also had this conditioning that when I hear an alarm, I need to react. So it's instantaneous. It's like you hear the alarm, boom, I'm up, I'm awake. What is it? And I have never hit the snooze button, not on purpose. I've hit the snooze button accidentally when I'm trying to hit stop, but I'm awake and I'm up, and then my alarm goes off again because I accidentally hit the snooze, not the stop, whatever it might be. But what I have done is I have woken up in the morning at times when I really have had a terrible sleep and I am exhausted. What I actually do is physically reset my alarm. I don't hit the snooze button.
Okay.
Now the reason that I've done that is, number one, I don't want it to ever say that it's okay for me to hit the snooze button. That's number one. Number two is, by doing that, I'm actually making a conscious decision. It's not a just hit the snooze button. I don't feel like getting up right now. Yeah, it's not in a groggy state. It's you know what? I really cannot handle getting up right now. I'm reading my body. I'm listening to my body, and I'm telling my body, no, I need that extra sleep. So I'm going to set another alarm for in an hour or in 2 hours or whenever it might be. That's what I do. So I'm not getting consistent. I'm setting a time frame of when I need to get up.
I like that.
I'm conditioning my body to continue to react to alarms. So when I hear those alarms, I can get up and do my thing. So there's two folds: really enjoying what I'm doing because I love my time. And then also the way that I've conditioned myself to react to alarms has been crucial. So that is just one of the tips. I've never heard anybody else suggest that tip as far as rescheduling your alarm. But I highly recommend it for those reasons, because I think it does play a little trick in your brain.
Yeah. And on the last episode, we talked about how to get a passion and all of those things. Why even bother doing this? If you want to get out of mediocrity, then that's your reason you're not hitting the snooze. That's the reason why you're getting up. Who are you trying to become? You're trying to do things different. This is different. This is helping you. I mean, he guaranteed basically in the beginning of the book, he's like, okay, well, we have this potential gap, right? Which he talks about later in the book, which I realized that's me, is this potential gap. And that these things are basically, he's saying, are the cure, putting these saver steps in. So not hitting the snooze, getting up and making it happen. And so I really can appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to just stipulate, because, we're talking about being morning people, and you don't have to be a morning person. Your schedule might be completely different. The idea isn't that you need to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't even have to be in the morning. If your day starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock at night, all we're talking about here is starting your day. So wherever that time is that your day starts, you started off on the right foot. Right.
And I think he hits on some of that where he's like, okay, let's just get to me, I feel like he's like, let me just hit you where it hurts. You want to be different. Yeah. You were reading this book. You want to be different. Here are the steps that I have seen that work. Here's all the famous people that are doing it. I didn't invent this wheel. I just made it so it was easier. And he's like, make it to yourself. For example, I'm traveling in a couple days, and my typical vacation pattern would be, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to write. I'm not going to read. But you know what? I don't want to be that person anymore. I want to be that person over there. So I'm going to take it. Maybe I'll do it for the typical 7 to 10 to 15, all those things. Like, again, the times are flexible. love that about this book. He's like, you know what, just make it your own. And I think that's huge to say right now is, okay, this might be easier to implement than I thought. Because when I first picked this book up, I was like, this is going to be a little challenge. And again, that takes us back to our conversations multiple times, is change is not always comfortable. But to become that next person or that next level or whatever, you have to push through that change and that uncomfortableness. So I love that.
I want to talk about what you're saying right here, because this is also a paradigm shift.
Again.
And it is. It's another paradigm shift. Now, again, I've always been a morning person, and I get up at the same time, even if it's on the weekend. I don't sleep in. And here's the reality, or the analogy that I'm going to use. When you have quote unquote cheat days, let's say that you have a diet and you have a cheat day. To me, that sets up an environment that says I am preventing myself, or I am withholding from myself some joy. And therefore, on a cheat day, I can get that joy back, which means that during the entire time that you're following a specific plan, you're actually feeling deprived. If you're getting up in the morning and you have a routine that is supposed to be improving yourself as a personal development or whatever it might be, if that's your plan, is to elevate yourself and step out of mediocrity and into excellence, and you view that as a deprivation, and you're looking forward to a weekend where you can not work out, not write, not focus on yourself, that entire time is going to be difficult for you. You're going to struggle the entire time to get up during the week because you're looking forward to Friday. You're looking forward to Saturday. You're looking forward to the weekend when you can reward yourself for behavior that you feel is depriving yourself.
Interesting. I feel like the more, though, people add these things to their lives, they don't want to take them out. And I will say that about something. I'm going to interject that. Just my experiences in some of this. Step 1, set your intentions before bed. Okay, so let me before I say skim through. I thought this one was huge. I have never done that, but I appreciate the fact that he's tried it and he's like, it works really well. So he does have some PDFs for some of these intentions and affirmations, and there is a before bedtime affirmation thing that does help you set the intentions before bed. There's some fill in the blanks, and I was just telling you that I'm going to rewrite those. I'm actually going to rewrite them, verbally say them and record them, and then listen to myself before bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a guided affirmation.
Yeah, like when I'm brushing my teeth and like getting ready for bed, I'm just going to play them.
Excellent idea.
Boom.
Yep.
And then make sure you, he's saying, which is part of his steps here, which is drink a full glass of water. So I've always just slammed water anyways when I get up, and then get dressed in your workout clothes. Well, okay, well, that depends on what your workout is, right? So, but yeah, like be dressed for whatever you're going to do, whether it is just stretching or is it going for a run? And then, he's talking about the affirmations, putting timers on your lights. And then one lady put a timer on her heater. I'm like, oh, I can appreciate both of those. You can appreciate those, but someone that's a wimp to cold like me in our whole 3 days or 3 weeks of cold. Yeah. Anything to add to those little tips? Because I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Oh, and I think he said brushing your teeth. Yeah, just get up, brush your teeth, and yeah.
The only part I don't adhere to, or that I don't like, is the whole holding off and having a shower until later. But that's for me.
That's your thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So part of that is because I don't want to be coming back into a room with people sleeping to go have my shower. So I try and get it all done and then leave and not have to disrupt anyone. Because I get up way before anybody in my household wakes up.
I understand that.
It's a convenience thing for me, but I totally understand where he's coming from, which is a reward for getting some stuff done. But I don't view it as a punishment, so I don't need a reward.
Well, I see a shower as I just worked out. I'm not going to shower before a workout.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. And I used to, when I worked out at the gym, I would shower at the gym and that worked fine. Yeah. But now I've had to modify it. So that's the only one that I'm a little bit sketchy on.
Okay.
Yeah. Before we end this episode, I just want to touch base on one other thing that you're talking about, which is the evening affirmations and why they're really, really important. One of the things that he says in here is not solely based on how many hours of sleep we get, but significantly impacted by how we told ourselves we were going to feel when we woke up. And I think that is so impactful that you read his story and he talks about the experimentation of when he's getting up and all the different hours that he's doing. And really the key difference was his mindset before he went to bed versus his mindset after. And I can't remember who is it that said whether you think you're right or whether you think you're wrong, you're right either way. I can't remember who said that. Was it Ford? It was Ford. Yes. Okay. Whether you
Henry Ford.
Nice job. Great.
Thank you.
Yes.
That would be a Newsome nugget.
Yeah. Henry Ford said that. Absolutely. So whether you think you're right or whether you think you're wrong, you're correct.
That is correct. It's if that wasn't it, that was pretty dang close.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's and that's the same for, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You go to bed with the expectation that you're going to be tired in the morning, chances are you're going to wake up like that.
Yeah. And I think we underestimate the tool of our brain. And basically that's what he's saying is like, you know what, this is a brain hack. Let's set the intentions, tell your brain, tell your body that's going to be okay.
Exactly.
And so I really can appreciate that. And that is, if you're not sure what to do with bedtime affirmations, he does have a PDF.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. That's the end of this episode. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us today. For more information about the show, as well as our list of current reads, check us out at www.theelevatedtrader.com.
Remember to subscribe and share if you found value in today's episode. See you next week.